welcome to my channel. I am finally doing the anti-TBR tag. I've been tagged by several people. I think Divya reads, Malia from Literary Fairy. Can't remember who else has tagged me, but I know there's been a few, so finally doing it. So here we go. The first question is a popular book that everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. Oh, this is rough. I'm gonna say A Song Below Water. Is that it? Yeah, A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. I have zero interest in reading it, even though it has to do with like kind of mermaids. It sounds too contemporary for my taste, so I don't think I'll ever get to it. The second question is a classic book or author you don't have an interest in reading. I have a few, but I think the first one will be Charles Dickens because I have no interest in racism. And I don't know, I'm not really like into classics, so I don't know if I would ever like hard not read them because I might try some and enjoy them and then slowly start reading more. So I'm just gonna say Charles Dickens for right now. An author whose books you have no interest in reading. Oh, I mean, I have no interest in reading Cassandra Clare, but I just might end up reading Cassandra Clare. Like, watch me next year joining Alana in her read-along for Cassandra Clare. I don't want to, but I might. But I'm saying Cassandra Clare just on principle. The question 3.2 is a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. You can combine questions or you can answer them separately if you have an answer for both. Okay, so Cassandra Clare is problematic as well, so obviously that's another reason I don't want to read her, but I also don't want to read J. Kristoff, if I'm being completely honest. And I also don't I just don't have a lot of interest in reading like white male authors in fantasy or science fiction. I tend to stay away from them as much as possible. So, yeah. An author you have read a couple of books from and have decided their books are not for you. I haven't read a couple books from Rosewater. I've just read 50% of Rosewater, but I didn't like it. I have like a whole shame pile over there. Okay, no, I feel like for the problematic authors as well, I can add J.K. Rowling to that because I've only read the first book in the series for like 8th grade English, so it wasn't really like something I wanted to do anyways, and I've just never finished the series or had any desire to. Yeah, so back to an author that I've read a couple of books from and I've decided that they're not for me. I honestly don't have many. I have read a few books and by authors and I was like, oh no, maybe I'll say Mary E. Pearson because I hate the way she finishes a series. I hated the last 2 books. The first book was cool for The Kiss of Deception. You see me bitch about this all the time, but the last 2 books just were not good in my humble onion. So, a genre you have no interest in or a genre you have tried to get into and couldn't. That's gonna be contemporary. I can read almost everything but contemporary. I have such a hard time. I have the Henna Wars and I have The Hate You Give for like contemporary books that are on my shelf currently that I have left to read, and honestly it might take me into the next year to finally finish just those 2. The next question is a book you have bought but will never read. This book can be a book you unhauled or returned to the library unread. Okay, so I have a few of these. I bought Delirium by Lauren Oliver. I bought The Hazelwood by, Melissa Albert. I bought The Whole of Rosewater and immediately regretted it. I also own
Which Direction?
To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and I don't think I'll ever read it. And that's just because I don't want to read a young adult contemporary romance. I also own Replica and Ringer by Lauren Oliver as well, and I don't know if I'll ever read those. Erin actually asked me the other day if I knew what they were about or if I had read them because they're on my shelf, and I was like, honestly, no, I don't remember at all.
Oh, I'm dead in weapons.
I also remember as a kid, I was trying to read the Aragon saga, and I ended up getting halfway through book 1 and then returning it. So I technically DNF'd it, but I'm planning on picking it up soon because I want to read that series before reading To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, so I can see if there's been any growth, because that's what I like to do. So yeah. Question 7 is a series you have no interest in reading or a series you started and have DNF'd. Okay, so again, with this, all of Cassandra Clare, I remember my friend gave me like the Mortal Instruments to read in high school, and she was like, you'll really like this, I think you'll really like this, I really liked this book, and I was like, okay. And then I tried reading like the first page and I immediately put it down and went, nah, not for me, and went back to like my really good fantasy romance books that I was reading at that time. A series I've started and DNF'd, that includes Rosewater. It includes Tower of Dawn from Throne of Glass.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't finished I don't know what the series is, of the House of Night series by PC and Kristen Cast. And I also DNF'd. There's a series called The Immortals by Alison Noel that I never finished as well, that I own all of the books for. I've started The Raven Boys, I've made it to The Dream Thieves, and I haven't finished that as well. So there's a few. I don't know if I will go back to them either because they're so old and I have other things that are more interesting to me right now. And yeah, a new release you have no interest in reading. Let me look up some new releases right now. Hold on. Okay, so I'm looking at like November releases. There's Ready Player 2. There's Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I don't know if I'll ever get to it. Like, I own The Way of Kings, but I'm not sure if I'll ever read it. I definitely won't be reading Instant Karma by Marissa Mayer. That has some serious harmful shit in it. I won't be reading The Ichabod by J.K. Rowling. Oh, I can say that I won't be reading Chain of Iron, whatever the next book is in the Cassandra Clare series. That's coming out later on, though. I think that's it. So those are the books that I have no interest in reading. I might add a little rant about Serpent and Dove here because I've recently DNF'd that and hated it. So I read, I think, 75% now, and I am just so pissed off with how poor everything seems to be. Like, I know she's influenced by Sarah J. Maas, and Sarah J. Maas is not like a very high standard. Sarah J. Maas is not a very high standard, and so I know I wasn't like expecting much going into it, but this somehow still was so far below my expectations. And I read the smut scene and I was just so underwhelmed because like Sarah J. Maas's smut scenes are cringy, but like this was next level, and it just was so forced and it was so insta-lovey. Like I've never really had a problem with insta-love before, because as someone who fell prey to instant love quite often, like a girl could look at me the right way on the bus and I would fall in love. So I was like, okay, this is like, I'm fine with instant love, that's not usually a problem. But this was like so delusional and Stockholm syndrome-y that I was just very uncomfortable. And so I'm hoping that From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout will be better, because this was not it. I don't know why Monet gave it 5 stars. And with that, thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, leave the dual swords because people might fight me. But maybe not, because these are pretty tame opinions. Leave me a dog, because I'm a bitch. And I don't have controversial opinions. Sorry that you watched this whole thing and you were hoping to see some juicy bits, but I got none. So yeah, see ya. Thanks for watching. Bye.